Hi everyone, welcome back to Numerics with Nadia. In today's video, we're going to do one last video on fractions and we're going to go through word problems that involve fractions. If you haven't watched all the other videos in the playlist, I would recommend watching those first because this is kind of putting everything together. So I know word problems are usually not everyone's favorite, but we're going to do word problems that involve adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. For number one, our word problem says you have 5/12 of a book left to read for school. You need 3/7 of the book over the weekend. How much do you have left to read? So first, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add in order to see how much have we read so far, right? In order to determine how much we have left to read, we have to see how much have we read so far. And in order to do that, we're going to add our fractions together. So we have 5/12 and 3/7. We are going to want to add those. In order to add those, we're going to have to, like we've been doing before, create and find our least common multiple. So our denominators are 7 and 12. We're going to go through and list the multiples of 7, list out the multiples of 12 until we find one that matches. So for 7, we have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77, and 84. So we did a lot of multiples of 7. Now let's go through and do the multiples of 12. We have 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, and 84. So the 84 matches up for both of them. That is going to be our least common multiple of 7 and 12. For our 7, we know that 7 times 12 gives me 84. And for the 12, we know that 12 times 7 equals 84. So we're going to take what we learned from this step and apply it to create a common denominator so we are able to add our fractions together. So now we're going to look at our 5/12. In order to make that 12 into an 84, which is our common denominator, we have to multiply by 7 top and bottom. For the 3/7, we have to multiply by 12 top and bottom. For our first fraction, we'll get 35 over 84 once we multiply. Second one, we'll get 36 over 84. And when we add those together, we get 71 over 84 once we add our fractions. And this 71 over 84 represents how much we have read so far. In order to actually answer the question in the word problem, though, we have to see how much do we have left to read. So it's great that we added. Now we have to subtract what we have read so far from the complete book. So when we subtract, we're going to be answering the question of how much do you have left to read? We have found the 71 over 84, which, as we've said, represents what we have read so far. Now I'm going to want to subtract this from the whole book. Now how will I know what the whole book will be? Our denominator is 84, and when the numerator and denominator are the same, it will equal 1, right? So a completed book would equal 1, and in order to do that, we would put 84 over 84, because 84 over 84 equals 1. We'll subtract the 71 over 84, which is what we have read so far. And when we subtract those, we'll get what we have left to read, and our answer will be 13 over 84. All right, you guys, let's move on to number 2. For number 2, it says you ate 1/9 of the cake. Your sibling ate 3/12 of the cake. How much cake did you eat in total? How much is left over for the rest of your family? So we've got 2 questions going on here, but first, let's tackle the first question, which is how much cake did you eat in total? The operation we would use here would be adding in order to find out how much we've eaten in total, right? In total means adding. And what we would be adding is the 1/9, right? What you ate, and the 3/12, what your sibling ate. So we would be doing 3/12 plus 1/9. Now, when we look at 3/12 plus 1/9, we have different denominators, right? So we're going to have to find the least common multiple of 9 and 12. For 9, the multiples we would get would be 9, 18, 27, 36, etc. And then for 12, we would have 12, 24, and 36. And our 36's match. So that would be our least common multiple. That's the common denominator we're going to be aiming for. To get the 36, we get 9 times 4 equals 36. And for the 12, we know that 12 times 3 equals 36. So for our denominator of 12, we would multiply by 3 top and bottom. And for our denominator of 9, we would multiply by 4 top and bottom. For our 3/12, when we multiply by 3 top and bottom, we get 9 over 36. For the 1/9, when we multiply by 4 top and bottom, we get 4 over 36. 9 over 36 plus 4 over 36 will give me 13 over 36. And this answers our first question. This is how much cake that we have eaten in total, you and your sibling. Now we have to answer the second question. The second question asks, how much is left over for the rest of your family? Normally, when they say left over or left, we would be using subtracting, right? So we would subtract here to find out how much is left over for the rest of your family. Now, what would we be subtracting by? We started out with a whole cake, right? Every slice. Now we have eaten 13 out of 36 slices. So the whole cake, and just like our last problem, when you have the same numerator top and bottom, in this case, our common denominator was 36. So if we do 36 over 36, that would represent our whole cake. We're going to subtract how much you and her sibling have eaten. When we do 36 over 36, the whole cake subtracted by what you and your sibling have eaten, the 13 over 36, that'll get us how much is left over for the rest of the family. When we do 36 over 36 minus 13 over 36, we get 23 over 36 as our answer, and that would be for the second part of the question. Now let's move on to our third fraction word problem. For number 3, it says you have 3/5 of a pie left. You cut the remaining pie into 4 pieces. What fraction of the original pie is each slice? So for our diagram right here, I have a pie chart of 3/5, right? That's how much pie we have left. We are going to take that and divide it, right, into smaller pieces. We're taking the 3/5 we have, we're cutting it into 4 pieces. So we would be doing division here. We would take the 3/5 and divide it by 4. Now we're going to stay switch flip because we're dividing by a fraction. The 3/5 would stay, the division would turn to multiplication, and the 4 over 1, right, it's a whole number, would change and flip to 1/4. When we multiply across, we get 3 over 20. It would be 3/20 of the original pie. Okay? All right, you guys, one more word problem for today's lesson. Number 4, we have you exercise for 5/6 of an hour. You jump rope for 2/7 of that time. What fraction of the hour do you spend jump roping? And in this case, we would be multiplying. We would multiply our 5/6 times our 2/7. We can cross cancel the 2 and the 6. When we multiply across, now we'll just get 5 over 21, and that would be our answer for the last one. All right, you guys, great work today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed this fractions playlist.